After a short interview this morning on fake news CNN, Trump 2024 National Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt is with us. Look, I'd like to tell you that I'm surprised it happened, but I'm not. I won't be surprised if it happens Thursday. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they let Donald Trump give a full, complete, uninterrupted answer to the American people and let them decide. I'll be shocked if they don't step in to try and debate Trump if Joe is struggling in any way. None of this will surprise me. But the president knew this going in, and he knew that it was their way or the highway. Otherwise, Joe wouldn't debate, would he?
No, he absolutely wouldn't. And the fact that President Trump is knowingly walking into a 3-on-1 cage match with crooked Joe Biden, fake Jake Tapper, and Dana Bash, who have a long history of lies against President Trump, shows his willingness and his commitment to bring his winning message to every corner of this country. CNN censored me today because they can't handle the truth. And they have been pushing lies about President Trump since he stepped into the political arena 8 years ago. They propagated the Russia hoax. They helped the Biden campaign censor the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop story. They pushed the Charlottesville hoax that a far-left outlet finally 7 years later debunked yesterday. And they have an anti-Trump bias that is at the core of their organization. And we should not expect anything less from them at Thursday night's debate. But again, President Trump knows that, but he is still willing to step into the arena to fight back, to bring his winning message. In this debate, regardless of it being 3-on-1, is going to be a great opportunity for President Trump to highlight his strength, his willingness to fight for the American people with Joe Biden's weakness and his incompetent, terrible policies that are failing this country, and CNN has largely refused to cover over the last 3.5 years.
They are liberal, Democratic, hate Trump talk show hosts masquerading as journalists. What was your reaction as this was unfolding today?
Well, it was a little bit shocking, I'll be honest with you, to have my microphone cut off and dumped from the program after less than 2 minutes. And all I was doing was repeating statements that Jake Tapper has said on air himself about President Trump. So Jake Tapper can go on the air. He can lie about President Trump. He can say his presidency was an American nightmare. He could push the Hunter Biden laptop scandal in an effort to help Joe Biden's campaign. And he can compare President Trump to Hitler, which is disgusting and egregious. But when I try to breach that subject on the network, they cut me off, they can me. Again, it's because they still want Americans to believe, laughably, that they're the most trusted name in news. They are not. They are an anti-Trump institution, just like basically every other main institution in this great country. And the American people are waking up to that, Sean. And that's why, regardless of the lies that CNN and the mainstream media have been spewing about President Trump for years, he continues to win. He has the momentum in this race. Recent Emerson College poll shows him winning in every battleground state. He's winning with independents. He's picking up a historic margin of the black vote. He's winning with Hispanics. He's winning with women. He's winning with young people, because all Americans realize that the Democrat Party is corrupt. They've been lying about him for years, and people remember just how much better their lives were under his leadership. And Thursday is going to be a great reminder of that.
You know, at some point, maybe Republicans ought to reconsider ever wasting their time like you did this morning. Karoline Leavitt, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Now, hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.